What's up, everybody? Obi here. Not really doing my usual intro because some stupid crap has been going on in the world of comics, and I have to go ahead and make my statement. And I didn't come alone. I actually brought someone to come along with me to kind of put these so-called comic book fans in their place because they're not comic book fans. They're just political fans masquerading as comic book fans. But everyone, welcome Dio.
It's the Big Oos. It's your boy Dio, aka Lil Dio, aka Dio Go Ree. It's the Big Ree, man. How y'all doing? I'm in a better mood than he is because I don't necessarily care too much about what they say, but it does definitely piss me off. So I'm
Yeah.
definitely here to put these guys back in their bracket.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And yeah, I guess it's just a matter of this is a build up because I don't just go off every time an idiot says something about a comic book movie or comic book property. I will shake my head at it. I'll probably mention it to you and keep it rolling. Like it has to really build up. And to be honest, this has really built up. This has been something building since this movie has been a thing. And of course, as you can see on the screen, we're talking about Captain America Brave New World. Now, first of all, this movie had an uphill battle from the get because when Steve gave that shield to Sam, of course, everybody had a problem with it because everybody mainly was like, "Oh, Bucky. Yes, Bucky did have the shield. We know
It
that."
should have been Bucky. It
Yeah,
should have been Bucky.
yeah, and it's like no, there's a lot of arguments to be made as to why it wasn't Bucky, and I don't think a lot of people pay attention to that. And again, we're not gonna harp too much on why it wasn't Bucky, but I will say this: there's two things that are my argument for why it wasn't Bucky. The first is that Bucky at the time after Endgame when everything happened to the world of the MCU, Bucky was still a terrorist. They don't know the redemption he had in Infinity War and Endgame. They don't know nothing about that. So you just imagine having Steve Rogers as Captain America, and then you all blip back as they called it, and then here's the freaking Winter Soldier, who's a known terrorist. He killed the Starks along with a whole bunch of other people. And this isn't hate against Bucky, but it's just it's common sense. It wouldn't have made sense.
I mean, I don't understand why anybody thought like that he would give Bucky the shield in the first place. Bucky's whole journey of like the Captain America trilogy, and especially in the end, is he just wants to be left alone.
Mm-hmm.
Bucky's tired of war. He's tired of fighting. He doesn't like it. He just wants to be left alone. Why would he want the shield? He doesn't want that. That's not Bucky's path in the MCU. Yes,
Exactly.
it crossed him in the comics, but that's cool. Like that was for the comics. That's a different character. That's a different iteration of this character. In the movies, Bucky wants nothing to do with that responsibility. If Bucky wanted that responsibility, he would have been mad at Sam and Falcon and the Winter Soldier because Sam's going to be Cap. Sam's supposed to be Cap.
Yeah, and I mean, there's been a lot of conversation. I looked at a video from E-Man. Shout out to E-Man's reviews. He does a lot of awesome reviews for movies, but he did a stream the other day, and he was basically saying that one of the things that made Steve Captain America, the reason he became Captain America, it wasn't because he was this I guess super American, is because he was a good man. And the doctor tells Steve in that first movie, he's like, I chose you because you were a good man. Well, when Steve gives the shield to Sam, is like, you're a good man. He told him that. So it's
Right before he left.
yes, you're a good man. So that's the point, and that's not to say that Bucky isn't a good man, but Bucky's also been tortured and brainwashed and just a whole bunch of other stuff. So it
And
just
he
doesn't.
killed the
He
Starks.
killed the
He
Starks.
killed the Starks. Are we forgetting this? Like Bucky has what it Natasha said it best. Blood in his ledger. Like that's all
Yes,
he has.
exactly.
It
So
doesn't matter how good of a man he is now. The world doesn't know that.
exactly, and the world probably won't know that. So that's just the main, I think, reasoning for Sam getting the shield. And again, that's really what started the uphill battle. So again, you mentioned Falcon and Winter Soldier. That show was about Sam accepting the responsibility of being Captain America. And no, it wasn't perfect, but to me, it's still one of the best MCU Disney Plus shows they had. Now, could they have stuck the landing a little better? Sure. Maybe some dialogue could have been changed, but the show was not as bad as some people were trying to make it out to be. And later on in this video, we'll pull up a clip of a certain YouTuber, complaining about the show. We'll get to that in a second because, again, the the premise or the inspiration for this video is really a lot of quote unquote Marvel fans, a lot of quote unquote comic fans reacting to something and just being pretty much assholes about the whole situation. And that's what we're going to get into. But before we talk about that, because of course, if you don't know, we're about to talk about the Anthony Mackie comments. But I want to say quick shout out to the whole shebang because there was a lot of rumors spreading for the past year, probably a year and a half, about Captain America Brave New World, talking about reshoots, talking about budget, talking about test screenings. And I remember seeing these tweets and people basically saying that the test screenings didn't go well and there's been a bunch of reshoots because the movie was just that bad and da 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 da. But this guy right here, the whole shebang, he pretty much he corrects all that. Like basically, I don't know if you can see it right here down here, but it says false narratives. That's what it is. It's a false narrative. None of that stuff is what it seemed, and I don't want to spoil his video, but he pretty much debunks all of that in this video, and I
Please,
believe
please, please watch my man's the whole shebang.
yes,
I'm definitely about to be a new subscriber because this video and the information he provided was literally all I had been looking for. It was literally all I was looking for to be said because these people on the internet, they get on the internet and they say whatever. They just think they know everything.
yeah,
And this man right here, he got it right. He got them right. At least somebody went the distance and tried
yeah,
to actually find credible sources to actually confirm actual information of things that these people don't even know about.
yeah. And I'll say I will spoil one thing. One of the things that was talked about was the reshoots, and even Anthony Mackie has spoke on these reshoots. But one of the things he tells us in this video is that the reason that they had reshoots, which by the way was only one reshoot, only one section of reshoots, they didn't do it more than once, but they did these reshoots for the purposes of making the movie have more action, have better action. They went and got the action choreographer from Winter Soldier and Civil War, and they brought him back so they could redo action sequences in the movie to make it better. Not that the movie was bad. They wanted to make the action as they wanted this movie to be as close to Winter Soldier as they could get it in terms of quality action and all that. So yeah, I mean the reshoot thing in itself, which is one of the things they were harping on, was like that was always misinformation. So that I think that's probably one of my favorite parts about this video is when he talked about that because it's like y'all are complaining, but you're complaining about them making the movie better and not talking about story wise. You're talking about just making it more fun as opposed to fixing something wrong with the story, which is clearly wasn't.
No, it's just a bunch of bullshit, honestly. Like
Yeah.
that's all I've been seeing. That's literally all I've been seeing. And let's not even get into the budget of the movie that, they so clearly egregiously like upscaled to something that it definitely wasn't. And it's just the entire rhetoric around the movie has been nothing but negativity the entire time.
Oh yeah.
And this is this is negativity towards a movie that nobody has even fucking seen yet. All these people talking about this movie, they've never seen this fucking movie. They've never seen it. They've never gone out and got invited to a test screening to see this movie. They don't know how the actual test screeners felt about the movie. All this this misinformation just spread across the world about only this and like only this movie. They're not talking about anything else right now. Yes, it's about to come out. Of course, this is what you're supposed to be talking about. But it's so many few people actually singing the praises or actually wanting this movie to do good, considering the fact that everybody is only talking about reshoots, money. Oh my God. He said what? This is what he said. It's just ridiculous. It's honestly just ridiculous.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And it's like, again, it's like I said, they've had issues. They've just been itching to complain about this movie. They've been itching to come up with ways to say it failed. And again, that's I'm really hoping it succeeds, because for as many negative people there are people out there who are genuinely excited for it. Even though the negatives will say, no one is excited about this movie. No one wants to see this movie, and it's like, you don't speak for everybody, man. You don't tell me if I'm excited for a movie. Shut up.
But the internet thinks they speak for everyone,
Yes.
though. I see it all the time in the WWE comments. They say they speak for everyone, and you don't. You're just a mark. That's
Exactly.
it.
Exactly. And we're gonna come across a couple of those in a second.
Yes, we are.
Oh
And I
yeah.
think I know exactly who you're talking about. Yes, we are.
Oh yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I don't know what these people have going on, but they're showing their true colors. That I will say that. So let me see. So now we're gonna go to Anthony Mackie's comments that everybody was so up in arms about. And we're gonna play this comment. So y'all check this out.
For me, Captain America represents a lot of different things, and I don't think the term, America should be one of those representations. Like, it's about uh, a man who keeps his word, who has honor, dignity, and integrity, someone who is trustworthy and dependable. You know, it's kind of this is kind of like a an aspect of a dream coming true. When I was a kid, all of us as actors, I believe, want to get back to that day before someone told you no. When you look out your door and you see a 5-year-old kid with a stick and he's slaying dragons to save the princess in the tower, that kid really believes there are dragons out there. That stick is really a sword and he's really trying to save that princess. And then one day somebody told him, no, there are no dragons, that's not a sword, and that princess is not there. And all of his little dreams were dashed. So, as an actor, I feel like our job is to get back to the day where we see that dragon and we slay that dragon to save that princess. And that's kind of what this movie was for me.
Uh oh. All right, ad. So nope. You see no ad.
This ad didn't happen.
Okay. In the editing process, I will put something right there. But yeah. That comment. I mean, that apparently people had a huge problem with that comment, and I don't understand why, because he's not wrong.
I don't understand anything that was wrong with what he just said. And I genuinely don't understand how this made so many people so mad. They just they just couldn't understand it. It's like, what about his statement was incorrect? The
That means
man
nothing.
literally said that Captain America was a good man. It's not about America. It's never been about America to be Captain America. That's not even what Steve Rogers stands for.
No, he's
So
he's
if
fought against
if
the American government plenty of times in stories.
and it's not just in the movies. He does it all the time in the comics as well. Yes, he works with the government, but do you people not remember that Civil War started because Captain America didn't agree with America and how they wanted to run things? Because it went against the true values of what America is supposed to be. Keyword supposed to be. Not what it is, what it's supposed to be.
And that's that's the funny. It's the aggravating but slash funny thing, because You gotta laugh at some of this stuff because it's like either how stupid are some of these people, or how much are you trying to bend the narrative to what you're trying to turn it into, that you're willing to basically take these comments and basically say that Anthony Mackie is anti-American, that he thinks that he doesn't like America, and this, that, and the other, when that's not what he said. Is again, you taking words that someone said and then twisting them up into what you want it to be. And it's just funny because, and guys, y'all know I try not to get too political on this channel because there's too much of that going on in terms of our entertainment. But I'm just gonna call a spade here. The people who are more on the far right are the ones who are making a big deal out of this and then twisting up his words to say something that he's not saying, which is ironic because the people on the far left are the ones who they fuss about doing that same thing when it comes to certain instances. The key takeaway from this is that both sides are kind of full of it, but it's amazing how the right side think they're so right, no pun intended, think they're so right, think that everything they do and say is just the right way of going about things, is correct, and that the left is crazy. But it's like, no, both of y'all are crazy. I'm sorry, you're both crazy.
I say everybody loves screaming woke this and this is woke and woke that, and it's like nobody even truly knows what that even means. So it's like you're just calling something left and white and woke for no reason.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the purpose? I just genuinely don't understand, like, how, because Anthony Mackie said something that you think is wrong because you don't know the character of Captain America, that this is somehow woke rhetoric and this is left propaganda that is anti-America. How was any of this anti-America? All he said is that Captain America does not stand for America, because he doesn't. He stands for the ideals and the dreams of what America is supposed to be,
And
or
that's
what
the
they
key word,
said they were supposed to be.
That's the key word, supposed to be. And
It's like these ooses are just dumb. I just
yeah.
don't understand it.
And the thing is, Captain America, that in a way, I mean, when you look at it, Captain America itself, that's a title, that's a moniker now. We can go ahead, because we were gonna mention it anyway, and I'll go ahead and pull it up so everybody can see it. But this is another issue with what these people are complaining. These people are complaining. So right here, Captain America, Chris Evans, back in 2011, quote, he was asked about what Captain America stands for. Now, quote, "I'm not trying to get too lost into the American side of it," Evans stated. "This isn't a flag-waving movie. It's red, white, and blue, but it just so happens that the character was created in America during wartime when there was a common enemy," end quote. Evans went further, suggesting it feels more like he should be called Captain Good, explaining that while Cap dresses in the American flag, the character's creation was rooted in the opposing undeniable evil rather than promoting nationalism. Okay, basically, before we even get into the fact that Chris Evans said this 10 years ago, a little more than 10 years ago, let's go ahead and make sure we notate. He's called Captain America because he got that moniker when the wartime, when World War II was going on. He was basically their mascot, if you will. And this is both in the comic world and in our world. They came up with Captain America during World War II. They called him Captain America to be patriotic, as a symbol for basically everybody, that mascot. But the character himself just has that name because of the time that he was created.
But when it comes out of Anthony Mackie's mouth, this is demonizing and anti-America.
Yeah, I mean, and again, you people are really telling on yourselves right now, because Chris Evans said the same thing. You see that right there, 2011. He said that in 2011. And y'all didn't have a peep of mum to say. You had nothing to say about that. But Anthony Mackie says it, basically repeating what Chris Evans said, almost to a T. He just changed it up just a tad bit, and it's a problem. Okay, yeah. And then y'all wanna be up in arms when someone calls y'all the R word. Okay. Well,
Racist.
right. So you can't have it both ways, because again, you're showing yourself when you complain like that about something that was already stated 10 years ago. And their excuses kind of like, well, we didn't hear him say that. Right, but you heard this one. Okay, yeah, sure. Well, we'll go with that. We'll go with that. So,
So if you didn't hear him say it, that means that once you see that Chris Evans said the same thing, you should walk all your statements back.
all
Correct?
of them. All of them.
I don't think that's how it works for you though, does it? Ooh?
No,
I don't think
no,
it worked for you like that.
no.
No, they're gonna keep doing what they normally do, and they're gonna keep fucking complaining and
Mm-hmm.
saying that it's anti-America and he's woke, and it's ridiculous. It's honestly tiring. It's just so tiring.
It is. It's
And
exhausting.
you're really just showing what you really are. You just don't like the messenger when somebody else said it forever ago. The exact same message. It just came out in different words. You just didn't like the messenger who said it this time.
Basically, again, and it goes back to them basically having problems, or not liking that Anthony Mackie was, or that Sam was Captain America. And this is going all the way back, probably before even Falcon and Winter Soldier. This is going back to when he gave him that shield. I'm positive people have been complaining since then. So
They were. I remember. They definitely were.
yeah, and so and unfortunately, Anthony Mackie had to go and clarify his statements. And I'm not going to go and read the whole quote, but he basically said he's a proud American. And basically, what he meant by saying that is what we all know, anyone with common sense knows already from that statement. But he, of course, had to go back and clarify what he had to say, because people were acting stupid and crying and whining. I will say this: there were actually more people on the Twitter side of things who were backing him up than I thought there would be. There
I saw the same thing on Threads.
Yeah, you see people defending him. Now you'll see people hopping on the replies and say, they'll combat it and go against it and everything. But for the most part, it was a lot of people defending what he said, because they had enough sense to be able to properly understand his statement. And then you have other people who I've seen on YouTube again, and it's a lot of YouTubers. The YouTubers are the ones who have a particularly loud voice, of course. So they're the ones, I've seen people say, go off about the tangent he went on about the kid and the dragon, and they were basically associating the kid and the dragon statement with Captain America. And I'm like, no, you idiot. He was making an example of what it's like to be an actor. At that point, he was just talking about it from the actor side of things. And like, how you people this stupid? Or are you reaching this much just to get a reaction?
They hear what they want to hear. They hear what they want to hear. It doesn't matter what he was actually talking about. It's the fact that he said it during what was going on. Even though he made an analogy to his journey of being Captain America and what the character was about. That's all he did, was make an analogy to the dragon story, the little boy and the dragon. That's it. That's it. There's nothing wrong with that. But people automatically assume that he's just talking about Captain America. That's nothing to do with that. That's about him. People obviously didn't graduate or they didn't go to school, because obviously you don't know what an analogy is. Like,
Yeah, common sense ain't that common.
or context clues, because he wasn't even talking about Captain America at that point.
No, he wasn't. And again, and you know what? Again, I'm so agitated about these people, and I'm not. I try not to use names. I try not to call people's names, but no, the YouTuber I'm talking about was Geeks and Gamers. Okay, I'm sorry that I'm almost paused because I saw it on, I think, SK, a YouTuber named SK did a reaction to his reaction to Mackie's comments, and I watched SK's reaction to it, and I'm almost positive it was Geeks and Gamers, and he's one of the usual suspects. And I'll pop up show some of these usual suspects because I'm sure they got videos. In fact, we're about to get to one now, and this one I will say that we're about to look at is a bit it's a bit disappointing because I used to like his channel, but he in the past couple years all he's done is just spew the Marvel is failing, the MCU is failing, Disney is failing, yada, doom and gloom, and they're
Toxic
gonna,
rhetoric.
yeah, that's pretty much all he's talked about for the past 2 years, and it had gotten to the point that I basically just stopped watching his videos as much. But again, even with this most recent video he made, he said something quite stupid, and I've gone to that part of the video so we can discuss that. So yeah, this is a critical drinker, and
I've been waiting for this one.
yeah, and I'm just gonna go ahead and pull up his video, and then you can just look at the title. Look at the title, Captain Anti-America. Come on, man. Before I play this
We
clip,
were just talking about it.
yeah, but before I play the video, I will say earlier in the video he does at least try to give Mackie the benefit of the doubt, in his own weird way, basically saying that maybe it was some written script that he was reading off of, and he said something along the lines that he actually liked Anthony Mackie before these statements, so he thinks that it could have been something else. But I'm not really worried about his opinions on Anthony Mackie here or there, but this is what he's about to say right now, which is probably one of the stupidest things you could have said when we're talking about these characters. So I'm gonna play this video real quick, and we're gonna go from there after this video.
Even resonate particularly well at the time when all of this ridiculous stuff was arguably at its peak. But holy shit, man, have things changed since then? Americans have gotten a bit tired of being told that their country sucks by elitist pricks who only exist because of the very privilege it provides, and for a lot of MCU fans, Sam Wilson kind of represents that cynical, anti-patriotic, anti-American era of Marvel filmmaking. Someone who was literally handed the achievements of a guy who fought and sacrificed more than he ever did, and then had the brass neck to complain about it afterwards.
Okay.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
So, let me tell you something, drinker. I know it's been 10 years. You know, maybe your memory's going bad. Maybe you need to put down some of the drinks. But Sam Wilson was in the military. Yeah, he fought. He fought in the war. He was. They don't say which war, but he was a soldier. In
Lost
fact,
a friend.
Yeah, in fact, if we're really gonna be cheeky, he's fought in the same number of wars as Steve. So
2.
yeah. So yeah, granted, because I'm gonna assume the war that Sam was in the one in Iraq. I guess they don't specify, but I will give you that Steve's war was leaps and bounds bigger than what Mackie was in. I mean, Sam was in, but it doesn't matter. You can't say that he was handed something and Steve worked for this, that, and the other, and make it seem like Sam didn't. Which, by the way, just if you want to say that Steve worked for something, Steve was given, as Hish would say, superhero steroids. So it's not like he worked out per se. He tried to work out, but he just had this condition where he was just skinny. He literally was given his powers. And again, this isn't a knock on Steve, but this is more so a knock on what Critical Drinker just said.
You literally said that somebody gave you the shield, and they were leaps and bounds more deserving than you, or than what Sam is. And it's like, how? How is this? And if you really stop and think about it, if you just stop and take the journeys for what they are, the entirety of Captain America, he has gone against the government. and he has stood for his ideals on what was right, and he has always tried to be the moral like standpoint for what a good person and what is good and right in the world. That's what he tries to do. Now, if we look at the journey, who was by Captain America the entirety of his journey after he came out of the ice?
This guy on the screen right here,
This
Sam
guy on the
Wilson
screen
was the
right
guy.
here. Sam Wilson. And before Captain America was even given his powers, he said he was told the reason he was given this opportunity was because he was a good man. Throughout the entirety of the Captain America trilogy, ever since Sam was introduced, and this goes into the Avengers movies as well, Sam has showed Captain America, Steve Rogers, that he is a good man because he always stood right there with him and was willing to sacrifice his own body and his own freedom as long as he did the right thing. That is more than enough in Steve Rogers' eyes to classify him as Captain America because at the end of the day, Sam Wilson is nothing but a good man.